Okay, folks, here we are. I got a little thrown off because just as I was getting ready to make this broadcast, I got an important telephone call, and I had to take the call. And I was trying to get rid of them, and, well, it was so hard to get rid of them, but I needed to talk to them, so, yeah. Anyhow, what I am doing now is, for some reason, I can't seem to find my loop. So I'm virtually blind up close. And so I've got this roll here, but I'm trying to make sure that it's the right roll. Believe it or not, I can't remember exactly which roll I'm supposed to be doing now. I know it's 1957D, but I'm working on finding the image right now so I can see the image of what I'm supposed to be doing. This is roll reveal number 91. It is for a 1957D roll, but I have to make sure that I'm with the right wrapper here. So OBW number 91, and it is Seattle branch of the Federal Reserve Bank of San Francisco, which is this roll, this particular wrapper. These are known to be pretty nice coins, so we'll get into them here real quickly. So what I've got here is the proper roll. I have 50 names. Let me get all this stuff out of the way so I can see what I'm doing here. Whoa. What happened to my software? There we go. There's my software. Let me pop this out so I can see. Just getting caught up with things here. I was all ready for this and all ready to roar, and then I got a telephone call from the Attorney General's office. So, had to take that. Okay, so here we go. This is Seattle Branch Federal Reserve Bank of San Francisco. I got this roll from a completely different source from any of the 1957D rolls that I've received before. So I'm actually hoping that there is something completely different in this than there has been before, just so we can have some variety, some differences. And here's our chip for the actual roll itself, the wrapper. And so I'll put my 50 names into the bag. And I'll put the one for the wrapper into the bag. And we will go ahead and start working on opening this roll. Get my little tool here to pry open the ends of the wrapper. Wrapper here is in pretty good shape. Very well put together, very well wrapped. Nice and tight. Unlike what we see sometimes. Alright, there's one end done. Almost done with the other end. One more fold to pull out. There we go. Sometimes it's kind of like brain surgery. Okay, here we go. Well, hello, Noah Man. Bill Betts, Eric Beyer, Farm Dog, Joe McBride, Steve A, Coin Junkie. Alright, here we go. Here's our roll. Looks like it's in pretty good shape. So let me go ahead and pull out coin number one. Of course, this is going to be a roll end coin. It's going to be a little bit different from the others as far as condition is concerned. I've got a bunch of paper flaking on there that I need to get off with a Q-tip. Hang on just a second. Let me dust this coin off. There we go. Well, it still didn't dust off completely, but it looks like we do have an RPM here in the first coin. Take a good close look at it. Yeah, definitely an RPM. It's kind of hard to see with the toning we've got going on in this coin, but it's definitely there. Let me turn the lighting up a little bit, give us a better opportunity of being able to see it. Looks like we have a tripled lower serif and a doubled upper serif. That's what it looks like from here. So we're going to call this an RPM. We're going to call it RPM number 1 for the day. And let's see if we have anything else on the coin. We do have some north and south die scratches running through the face area. That'll be a good marker for us to use. It doesn't look like there's any doubling. We have a die break in the lower B of Liberty. So I have a couple of good obverse markers to use. And it is a great start. So here we've got what looks like some pretty nice die scratches right out in front of the upper lip, and some out in the middle of the field out there, and north and south die scratches, and they also run through the date area. And then we have this RPM, and there's a nice divot in the vest. You can see that bright spot right in the middle of the vest out in front of the lapel. That is also going to be a good marker for us to use. So let's flip it over and take a look at the reverse. The reverses on 1957D are not very well known for being die varieties, but this one has some intense, it's like slight purplish toning with a lot of luster. Extremely bright luster on this coin. Very nice. Okay, so we'll put this one with a number 1. Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't draw a name for number 1. Now did I? I gotta stop me with that. Okay, so Kevin Speaks gets this first one. Let me get my pen out so I can write a number on it for him. And that's coin number 1. And it's die number 1 for the day. So let's draw out for number 2. Coin number 2 will go to Paul Hampton. And let's see a little bit more of what the inside of the roll looks like. Looks like we have an example of the same die again. So this is one that has a cleaner looking obverse. You could definitely see the splits in the serifs. So this is the same die again. I needed a cleaner example to be able to see exactly what was going on. But I picked it pretty much right. It looks like we have a tripled lower serif and a doubled upper serif. A lot of north and south die scratches running throughout the design. Got a heavier die scratch out in front of the face. And so this will be another die number 1 for the day. Same die, second time. Nice clean coin with a whole lot of luster. Lots and lots of luster on this baby. I still probably don't sound 100%. It's because I'm getting over a cold, but I'm doing fine. This is one of the brightest 1957 D Lincoln cents I've seen in quite a while. So this roll should turn out to be a very nice roll. Let me put a number 2 on Paul Hampton's coin here. And it also will go in the pile for die number 1 for the day. And let me pull a name for coin number 3. Coin number 3 will go to Adam Chambers. Adam Chambers will get this coin right here. And what do we have? Well, as if 2 weren't enough, we have a third example of the same die again. I don't know which RPM this is, but I do know that it seems to have taken over this roll. Our first 3 coins, same die. Let's take a look at the reverse. And the coins are exquisite for luster. Luster is just sunglasses luster. It's like you're trying to look into the sun. Beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Here, let me pull this up a little bit. Let me show you guys what I'm talking about with this. Look how bright that coin is. That is bright luster. Just like the coin was made yesterday. Get it back into focus here before I keep moving on. There we go. Have a reasonable focus. All right, that's going to be coin number 3 for Adam Chambers. It's going to be die number 1 for the day. So now we have 3 coins, 3 die varieties. We're batting 1,000. Let's see what we've got for coin number 4. I'm not going to be opening another roll this afternoon. I've got a roll that's going to come up later on this evening. I think I scheduled it for 7 o'clock Eastern time or 8 o'clock Eastern time. I can't remember right now. But that's going to be the 1942 D roll. Oh, look at that. I happened to pull out that one. So that is going to be Adam Chambers. So that means the wrapper will go to Adam Chambers. So I got Adam's name on there for the wrapper. And here is my Seattle Fed Reserve wrapper from 1957. More than 50 years old. More than 60 years old. Wow. Time flies. Hey, Jessica. All right, next one goes to Guyver. Okay, this is another RPM, but it's a different one. This is not the same RPM. It's a nice one, but it is not the same. Let me get my screen taken care of here so I can see a little bit better. Hang on just a second, boys and girls. There. I wanted to see it better, bigger. Let's zoom in here and see what we see. So you can see that split lower serif, and you've got the doubling on the upper serif. So it is definitely an RPM, although it is not the same RPM that we pulled in the first 3 coins. So this is coin number 4. It's going to be die number 2 for the day. We got a bunch of diagonal die scratches out in front of the mouth and nose. We do not have a die break in the B. We got that really heavy die scratch coming up out of the bridge of the nose. And man, a lot of flashy. A lot of flashy. I'll knock this down just a little bit so I can see it better. Bunch of really old die scratches, diagonal running through the 1-9 of the date. So we can use that as kind of a marker to determine where we are and where we're going and what we're doing. These are some superb looking coins here. Really nice coins. Alright, so that's Guyver. It's coin number 4. So we coin number 4, die number 2 for the day. And let's see who's next. Steve A. Steve A comes next. Let's see what we end up there. Well, we have, looks like it's another RPM. And this is going to be die number 1 for the day. Has that die scratch pattern out in front of the face. And should have a die break in the B. And it does. Just in case we need another marker, there's a really long die scratch coming straight up out of the R of Liberty. But this is die number 1 for the day again. Nice repunchment mark. Not a doubled I. Nothing else doubled on the coin, but you can see the difference in color here. This difference in color is actually very evident on the coin. It's very nice. It has kind of almost like a silvery pink color to the central area of the coin. And then the outer fringes are more of the typical yellowish red. Very nice. 8 p.m. Central. So that'll be 9 p.m. Eastern. Is that correct? Well, we'll certainly be there then. Whatever time it's set for, I'll be there. I just can't really remember right now, and I didn't write it down, which I should have. Man, this coin is just beautiful. These things, you're going to love these coins. They are very nice. So I'm going to mark this one with a 5. Now it's coin number 5. And it is die number 1 for the day. Thank you, Mudswat. I appreciate all compliments. Joe McBride gets the next coin. This one has a few spots on it. Still got really bright luster, but it has a few spots. Couple little spotty issues, but we do still have an RPM. So we are still, and this is yet a different RPM. So now we have our third RPM. Hey, look at that. That's a buy. So we've got an RPM with a buy die break. Do we have a doubled I maybe? No, not a doubled I. So I don't see anything doubled on this coin other than the mint mark itself. And then we have the buy die break over here. So there we go. That's a cute one. And once again, we still have the toning in that, in the central area, we have almost this, it's kind of like a I don't know, like a yellowish pink color. Strange. And then on the outside, we have more of an orangish red yellow that we would expect to see on a brand new Gem BU coin. Beautiful. That's what I say. Beautiful. We're going to check the reverse on this one. See if we come out with anything that we didn't expect. Because if we had a double die, that'd definitely be something we wouldn't expect. I'll tell you that for sure. No double die reverse is known for 1957 Denver. Minted Lincoln cents. Joe gets coin number 6 there, and it's going to be die number 3 for the day. So let's draw for coin number 7. Eric Bayer. Eric Bayer will get number 7. Very nice coin. Few spots here and there in this roll, otherwise we've got nothing but beautiful coins. This is going to be another die number 2 for the day. So far, we have run into 7 coins. Of those 7 coins, 100% were RPMs. This is the kind of roll I like to run into, because these things are definitely worth more than what you're paying for them. Slightly weakly struck, and I'm sorry I'm snot-nosed. It's just it's a tragedy of the condition, I guess. Let's see, coin number 7. So that's coin number 7, die number 2 for the day. Now let's move on to coin number 8. Coin number 8 will go to Steve Looking for Silver. Steve Looking for Silver will get this coin, and it is, looks like another die number 3 for the day. This should have a buy on it, and it does. So die number 3, I got that from, see that big die scratch that runs out in front of the beard right there? And then there's another one that almost parallels it down there above the 1-9. I recognize those die scratches from having seen this coin once. And I stayed in a Holiday Inn Express last night. Actually, I think I've been doing this for about 40 years, so have to learn something in 40 years, right? This roll is smoking. It's a really good roll. It's amazing how many rolls we run through before we come up with something that's just flat nice. And we've done it here. As Steve Looking for Silver gets this one, it's going to be coin number 8. And it will be a die number 3 for the day. We've got 3 different RPMs coming out of this roll so far. 100% of the coins in the roll are RPMs. And Eric Bayer will get the next coin. Let's see what Eric gets. Okay, we get something different than we've had before, because this has a small die chip in the 9 and in the 5 of the date. I don't see a repunch mint mark on this one. I guess I do, but it's really, really, really minor. Don't think it's going to be enough to call. No. Probably not enough to call. I don't see any hub doubling on this one. It looks like we may have ourselves a normal coin. You know, a lot of times you have to get 8 or 9 coins into a roll before you find an RPM. Amazing. This roll, you had to get 9 coins into the roll before you did not find an RPM. So that makes this one a little bit different from the average, right? Okay, so our first coin, number 9, that will be a normal coin that will go into the normal coin pile, goes to Eric Beyer. And for coin number 10, we will go to Guyver. Guyver is a new participant in our roll hunts. Let's wish him well. He did get an RPM here. This is die number 1 for the day again. I tell that by that really strong little die scratch right out there in front of the mouth, about halfway out to the rim. And that we have a chip in the lower B. This is definitely die number 1 for the day. This is a nice high-grade coin. I'm going to go with a 65 to 66 on this one. Too bad anymore 66s don't really bring any money. There was a time when a 66 was a $30 to $40 coin. Unfortunately, a lot of them have been submitted since then. So a 66 is pretty much a baseline coin. 67 will get you a little bit. 67 plus is a money coin. Some chance for 67 plus in this roll. I haven't seen it yet, but some chance. I'm slow here because I mismarked that one with a number 9. It needed a number 10, and this was die number 1 for the day. So I'm going to put this in the die number 1 for the day list. So 10 coins so far. 9 of the 10 are RPMs. And Deanne comes next. And with Deanne next, let's take a look at Deanne's coin. Looks like Deanne's going to get the same thing that Eric Beyer got. It's a normal coin, but it has die chips in the 9 and the 5 of the date. Not really seeing anything else of consequence on this one. Except that it is a very nice coin. Nice high-grade coin. Alright. So Deanne will get her first coin as a normal coin. This is coin number 11. Now for number 12, we're going to go to Marshall. Marshall gets coin number 12. Here's what Marshall's coin looks like. This is another one of the die number 3 for the day, so this will have a die break. And it does. It's coin number 3, or die number 3 for the day. Another RPM. Oh, there's a spot down there. I don't like spots. Let's take a look at the reverse and see what comes on the reverse here. A little bit of a scraping mark from a counting machine. And that's about that. So Marshall will get this coin number 12. It's going to be a die number 3 for the day. And we're going to go on to coin number 13. Lucky coin 13 belongs to Farm Dog. Let's take a look at what we get here. I do see a spot or two on the reverse. What do we have first? Die number 1 for the day. Minor split serif RPM. We've got that large die scratch halfway between the face and the rim. Should have a chip in the lower B. Long die scratch north of the R. All the markers are lining up. This is definitely an original roll. We've only run into 4 different die pairs so far in this roll. 3 RPM die pairs and 1 normal die pair. One of the RPM die pairs has a buy die break. So that's Farm Dog's coin there. And this one was which one again? Number 1. Okay. So it's die number 1 for the day. I need to get a number 12. Number 13, sorry. Number 13 stuck on Farm Dogs. This is coin number 13 for Farm Dog. You guys might wonder why I always repeat myself and make sure that I say numbers and people's names a number of times. And the reason for that, so if I get confused, I can come back to the video and figure out exactly what happened. All right, Kevin Speaks gets coin number 14. And this is Kevin's coin. Coin number 14 is, well, it is an RPM. It's die number 1 for the day. So we have yet another die number 1 for the day. Die break in the lower B. Basically the same thing we just looked at on a different coin. So let's take a look and see if there's anything error-wise to talk about here. Nothing here for errors. So Kevin Speaks gets to go into the pile with RPM number 1 for the day here and coin number 14. So coin number 15. Coin number 15 goes to Mr. Worley. And Mr. Worley's coin looks like this. We have another die number 3 for the day. This will have a buy die break. Right there. Chucky can sort these things fast. There's a little die. It's kind of cool. Little die scratches over the eye. Hadn't noticed that before. This does have a small split in the upper serif. A small split in the lower serif. And it has a buy die break to add to it. So, awesome. Let's take a look around and see if we find anything for an error to talk about on this. Now, for those of you just joining us who haven't been with us before, I always try to look at the reverse on every coin. And the reason for that, well, you generally know that when you have a particular obverse, you're going to continue to repeat that obverse, and the reverse usually goes with the obverse. So if you're looking at the obverse, it's coin number 15. So if you're looking at the obverse, you can pretty much tell what the die is going to look like on the reverse with regard to doubling. So if you're only checking for double dies, then there's no sense in flipping the coin over because you already know what's going to be on the reverse. But since we look for everything, we look for errors, we look for struck throughs, we look for brockages, indents, all other sorts of things, that can happen with the reverse of the coin. But we would never know it if we didn't look. So we look anyway. Steve looking for silver. This is die number 1 for the day. You can already tell by the die scratches. You can see the double split serif. It looks like the lower serif is 3 parts, and the upper serif is 2. We have our die break in the lower B, and our tall die scratch out of the R. Take a look at the reverse real quick. We could probably back off of this by, halfway, and be able to see more of the coin at once. I think we'll do that, because I'm seeing so few different dies, they're pretty easy to pick out. And Steve looking for silver will take coin number 16. Coin number 16, and that was die number what? Gosh, I can't remember now. Die 1. Okay. Die number 1 for the day. We have currently, what's that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 of those. We have 8 of those and only 16 coins. So half the coins we've pulled so far have been RPM number 1 for the day. Next coin belongs to Eric Beyer. A couple of minor spots on the reverse, but the obverse is very nice. And this is going to be a die number 2 for the day. Old diagonal die scratches running through the 1-9 of the date, a double split serif RPM. We're going to have a heavy die scratch coming out of the bridge of the nose, and no error on the Liberty. We'll take a look at the reverse on this one, just to be sure it doesn't have anything worth talking about, and then we're going to move our camera up a little bit, because I think we can get a little bit further away from the coin and still be able to tell the story. That way you'll be able to see a little bit more than one little fly speck of the coin at once. So this one will go to Eric Beyer. It's going to be coin number 17. And it's going to be die number 2 on the day. We have surprisingly few of those. That made the 3rd one of those. So I moved my camera up considerably. I'm going to have to refocus once I get a coin under there, but you'll see why I did it. Mr. Marshall comes next. Let me get this focused. We can still see the markers we're looking for, and we can see more of the coin now. This is die number 1 for the day. We could tell by the die break in the lower B. That's probably one of the easiest rolls I've gone through in a long time. We know it's an RPM even though you can't see it, because we've got all of the markers that are associated with that die. Let's take a look at the other side real quick. You've got a few little spots. Struck through flakes here and there. But overall, it's still a nice coin. It has some color toning on it, too. Now that's for Marshall. That's going to be die number 1 for the day again. And it's coin number 18. Now for coin number 19, Farm Dog. Farm Dog will get a... This is one of the normal coins here. Even though it looks like an RPM under this. We know it's the normal coin because it has the diagonal die scratches and has the chip inside the 9 and the 5 of the date. Has nothing going on with Liberty. Should be nothing on the reverse, but we're going to look for errors anyway. See what we've got going on there. Nothing doing, except we got a nice, really bright luster coin, that's for sure. It is a great start for the reveals this week. I could tell right now, I can just feel it. We're going to come up with some nice coins this week, that's for sure. Oops, I stuck that in there without writing the number on there. It's coin number 19. And it's only our 3rd normal coin for the entire roll. Looks like we've been through near half the roll and we've only got 4 different dies represented. Levels of Madness comes next. And Levels of Madness will take home a... Which one is this, folks? Looks like a die number 3. No? No die chips. I think this is die number 3 for the day. It's got the long die scratch coming out of the bridge. Or was this die number 2? Well, now I can't remember. Was die number 2 the one? Let's look at a die number 2 real quick. Get my memory refreshed. Okay, it is die number 2 for the day. Diamond number 2 is the one that has the long die scratch out of the bridge of the nose. You can see one in the back of the head right there, right at the bottom of the hair. And then a bunch of old diagonal die scratches in the 1-9 of the date. Yep, been finding buys, been finding RPMs, been finding all kinds of goodies. So this is going to be another die number 2 for the day. That's why I didn't recognize it. I've only pulled a couple of those. So here's a die number 2 for the day. This is going to Levels of Madness. It's going to be coin number 20. I'm glad my medication is finally working. Okay, so Levels of Madness gets coin number 20. Die number 2 for the day. We draw another number. Drawing another number, we got Joe McBride. Joe McBride will get coin number 21, Blackjack. And the Blackjack coin is a die number 1 for the day. We have that heavy die scratch halfway between the face and the rim. We have that slight angled die scratch under the nose in front of the lip. And then we're going to have a die chip in the lower part of Liberty, in the lower B of Liberty. So this is another die number 1 for the day. We've also got our tall die scratch above the R of Liberty. You see that I'm repeating the same things over and over again. That's what's going to happen when you have an original roll of coins. Original rolls of coins always come from a single source. It could be 1 or 2 bags poured together into a hopper and poured into rolls. So you're going to come up with generally 10 to 15 or fewer different die pairs. All the coins will have the same color. They'll all have the same edge toning. Everything will be basically the same on all the coins in the roll. And that was what? Coin number 21. And it was die 1, right? Yeah, die 1 for the day. I just looked at the chip in the B and told myself that's what it is. So that's coin number 21. Let's go on to coin number 22. Coin number 22. We'll go to Mr. Marshall. Well, let's see what Mr. Marshall gets. Coin number 22 is... Wow. That's fresh. Chip in the lower B, but I don't see any of the other markers we've been looking for, so we're going to have to zoom in. Actually, this is what appears to be a different die altogether because it has a chip in the 5 of the date and a chip in the B of Liberty, which does not match any of the other coins that we've seen so far. Got a long die scratch coming up off the right edge of the 9 of the date. So let's zoom in real close. Check, see if we have an RPM going on here. I don't really know for sure right now. Let me brighten it up a little bit so we can see more out of it. And no, this is a normal coin. Looks like it's got a little bit of struck through damage on the mint mark. That's about it though. Got nothing else going on. We got ourselves a normal coin here. Let me check Liberty real quick while I'm zoomed in. I always look for doubling on the BERTY of Liberty on 1957 D Lincoln cents. Why? Because there's a lot of them known. Why? We don't know. So, we have ended up here with a normal coin in coin number 22 that finally represents our 5th different die. 5th different die for the roll. It is a beautiful coin. It's a really nice condition. You guys who know me know by now that if I say it's in nice condition, it really is. There's Eric Beyer again. Coin number 23. We'll get focused in on this real quick. We have a die number 3 for the day, as it appears. So I should have a full buy on this one, and I do. It's RPM number 3 for the day. I think it's in average condition, maybe a little better than average. Nice red BU coin though. Just going to be a die number 3 for the day for Eric Beyer. And on that we have coin number 23. All right. Next up is going to be Joe McBride. Hey, Joe, what die number do you need? Let's see. Before we even look, Joe has a 1. Does Joe have a 2? Joe does not have a 2. Does Joe have a 3? Joe does have a 3. So Joe needs a number 2. Let's see if we got it. This is the next coin in the roll. Yeah, looks like we got ourselves a number 2. I have no idea how I just did that, but I did. And I'm going to take credit for it. So, yeah. Hey, look at that die scratch coming off the E of we. We could definitely use that as a marker. But we got the one in the back of the head. We've got the one on the bridge of the nose. We've got nothing going on in Liberty. And we do have an RPM. So it's definitely die number 2. I had no clue. But I'm happy. God, look how bright that coin is. A few spots here and there, but we do have a die number 2 for the day. So that's going to have Joe McBride batting for the cycle. For those of you who don't know your baseball reference, batting for the cycle is someone who bats a single, a double, a triple, and a home run, not necessarily in that order, all in one game. That's how that works. That's coin number 24. Coin number 24, Joe McBride, goes on die number 2. And I tell you what, folks, we're going to go to a commercial break. Be sure to check out and subscribe to Mantic Coins on YouTube, where host Shay Hoffmaster takes you through a fun-filled tour through numismatics to include coin auctions, educational videos, live roll hunts, and much more. Come join in the educational fun with Shay. Search Mantic Coins on YouTube and subscribe today. The best in online auctions just got better. Now you can enjoy Coin Night live auctions twice weekly with the addition of CNLA Weekend Edition with your host, Jessica Johnson. All the same excitement and the same great deals with a new host and at a new time. Come join in the fun this weekend. All right, so we're back. No extra eyelids yet. Oh, we've only got 5 different dies. It turns out that 3 of the 5 have been RPMs with no hub doubling. Oh, we're getting ready to scoop under there and take a look at a coin without a name. We got to give the coin a name first. Levels of Madness. And it's going to be a die number 2. It's going to be a die number 2 for the day. We've got the old die scratches. We've got the one coming out of the nose. We've got the one coming off the E of we, the back of the head. Nothing in Liberty. We definitely have a die number 2 for the day. Oh, is that a doubled eyelid? Are you serious? Let's see. Let's get this thing in focus here. I've been doing further away mode because I thought we knew what we were looking at. It's not a doubled eyelid. I don't know what I was seeing. I certainly thought I was seeing one there for a second. But nope, not a doubled eyelid. Yeah, my predictive services only work so much, right? You see that right there? It looks like a doubled eyelid. But it's not. I'm not sure what that thing is. I'll have to take a look at it under the other scope. Somehow, some way, Chuck's loop came up missing. So other than glasses, I'm totally blind. That's definitely a die number 2 for the day. Bright, bright, bright coin. Very bright luster. Very nice. And so that'll be for Levels of Madness. It's going to be coin number 25. And we are more than halfway through the roll. Which I have no idea where time goes. 50 minutes after I started on time. Well, more or less. Mr. Worley. Hello, Victoria. What does Mr. Worley get? Mr. Worley gets a die number 1. Die number 1 for the day, of course, has the heavy die scratch halfway between the mouth and the rim. It's going to have the chip in the lower B. Big long die scratch coming up out of the R. Minor RPM. And as it would appear, nothing on the reverse to get excited about. But we do have another RPM number 1 for the day. And that's going to go to Mr. Worley. It's going to be coin number 26. Could you guys possibly believe this was coming before it got here, right? We got 26 coins looked at so far. And I'm not even going to try to figure out percentages, but we've only got 4 coins that are not RPMs in this roll. All right, Mr. Worley again. What's Mr. Worley get this time? It looks like a die number 3 for the day. It's going to have a full buy. And it does. Shabam. So we got die number 3 for the day for Mr. Worley. Let's take a look at the reverse. Man, these coins are shiny. Bright, bright, bright. Little struck through issue going on there. So that's a die number 3 for the day for Mr. Worley. That's going to be coin number 27. So does he have a die number 2, I wonder? No, Mr. Worley does not have a die number 2. Maybe Eric Bears or Levels might trade with him because they each have 2 die number 2s. So let's move on to the next coin in the roll, which will be coin number 28. That's going to be for Mr. Fletcher. Mr. Fletcher gets... Oop, this is going to be one of the normal coins, I think. Got that die chip in the 9, die chip in the 5. Nothing going on in Liberty. Yeah. Even though it looks like it could be an RPM, boy, it really does look like an RPM. I'm going to mark it as a normal coin. I'll go back later and take a look. These coins are just so bright, they don't really do very well with this microscope. Nothing on the reverse to take home. Still, it's a nice coin, either way. But Mr. Fletcher gets coin number 28. And on to coin number 29. Coin number 29 goes to Kevin Speaks. Let's take a look at his. Oh, we got another one with the chips in it. So that's 2 coins in a row now that are normal coins. We had to get 29 coins deep in the roll to find 2 coins in a row that were normal coins. I'd say that makes this a pretty good roll. Don't know about you. But I think pretty good roll. All right, Kevin, that's coin number 29. Let's draw for coin number 30. Coin number 30 will go to, well, Kevin Speaks. What do you know? He gets 2 coins in a row now. Let's see if he has an RPM. And no, this is another one of the die that has the die break in the 9 and 5, but nothing else. Wow. That's a tough break. But look at the condition of this coin. Good gosh. So little rim hits above the S of pluribus up there. You got a little mark next to the O of 1. A little mark above the T of states. And that's about it. Nothing visible to the naked eye. And on the obverse, one hit in the lower lapel. Couple of little fleck marks out in the field in front of the face. Folks, I think I'd be able to go to a 66 red with this. I'm thinking 66 red on this coin. Beautiful. Really, really nice one. All right, Kevin, you got yourself a really nice coin, although it is a normal coin. And I don't know if you've been keeping track, folks, but this is the 3rd normal coin in a row. For the first time in the roll, of course. All right, well, let's keep moving. More RPMs, folks. Mr. Marshall. Mr. Marshall will get... Man, it's another one. Same die again. That's 4 in a row. 4 in a row. Well, I guess we can't always have good things, can we? Not that this isn't good. I mean, this is an MS64, 65 red coin. It's not in as good shape as the last coin we looked at, but man, I tell you what, these things are still nice. Levels, I'll take a sausage with mushroom and pepperoni, please. A little bit of olive, too, I think. I like black olives. Please and thank you. Wow, it is almost 5 o'clock. Almost time to eat. All right, Kevin Speaks. Next coin. Well, let's get out of this rut. We are out of the rut. This one is going to be die number 3 for the day. We've got the die break in the Liberty, the bi die break. And we've got the 2 parallel scratches that are diagonal in front of the face. So this is die number 3 for the day again. Everything's going great, Stephen Elliott. It's going to be one of our highest RPM producing rolls ever. Probably the highest so far on the show. Kevin Speaks gets this coin, be coin number 32. And coin number 32 goes in the pile for die number 3 for the day. Next coin, go to Mr. Fletcher. Mr. Fletcher will get coin number 33. And this one, a normal one. We're running into a lot of these normal ones here in the last half of the roll. I thought we were really going to hit it hard and count high. But it looks like we're getting some normal stuff here. Hey, Frank. Mr. Fletcher for coin number 33. Hey, folks, we got 19 likes in here. We got 24 people watching right now, which means we could have 24 likes if you get over there and smash that like button for me. Doesn't cost you a dime. SJ's Mixed Adventures, how you doing? Okay, Guyver gets the next coin in the roll. The next coin in the roll is going to be coin number 34. And coin number 34 is... Well, it's going to be a die number 3 for the day, but I can't really see the RPM. It's been hit. but definitely going to have that full die break over on the other side, right there, the by die break. So it's going to go in the pile with the die number 3 for the day, even though it's a little bit spotty. Reverse is nice and clean, though. Got a couple of spots. But, man, look how shiny that is. Man, that's a nice coin. Nice, nice, nice. So that's die number 3 for the day. Guyver gets that one. Hitting more die 3s. Looks like we've got about 10 of them over there. That's a good thing. Because these not only sport an RPM, but they also have a by die break. 2 varieties in one, right? Let's see what we got next here. Yeah, some people call them varieties, some people call them errors. I call them errors because when something develops on the die after it's been hung on the press to start making coins, to me that's technically a die error. This is going to be a die 2 for the day. Here's our heavy die sketch coming out of the bottom of the hair. There's going to be another one coming off the E of we. Right there. There's going to be the one out of the bridge of the nose. Right there. So that's a die number 2 for the day. So if you have a die crack, a die chip, a cud, a clash, or any other die damage that transfers to the coins, you have what's known as a die error. If the die had doubling on it prior to its being used in striking coins, well then, boys and girls, you have a die variety, and therein lies your difference. A double die is a die variety, not an error. I'm not really sure whether 57 is known for buys. Here's Bill Betts. I know you've been waiting patiently, Bill. Got a nice looking coin going down there. And it's going to be die number 2. It's die number 2 for the day. It does have a couple of spots on it that I didn't see when it was going down. Oof. This one's a little spotty. Not as nice as some of the others. My apologies for that. But that's die number 2. Got yourself an RPM anyway, right? Alright, so that's coin number 36. Mr. Betts. Die number 2. So a repunch mint mark is also a die variety because, you know, although a repunching is done in error, it's not technically an error because an error has a specific outline definition. This is going to be a die number 2 for the day as well. Another die number 2 for the day. We are starting to accumulate those now. And looking around here, I'm not seeing anything worth mentioning on the reverse. And this one has coin number 37 for Deanne. And coin number 38 will go to Levels of Madness. Coin number 38. I put that in upside down. It is one of our normal dies. It's the normal die that has the chip in the 9 and the 5. Still got that nice colorful toning. The colors just shift on the coin ever so slightly. When you look at it in hand, you could really easily see those shifts in color. Went to the doctor this afternoon. Doctor tells me I'm alive. Works for me. That means I can go through this roll, right? So I don't think I could do it if I wasn't alive, right? I can't remember what I said this was. Oh, this is a normal coin. Flip it right over here. And then we're going to get into another coin for Mr. Fletcher. What does Mr. Fletcher get? Nice quality. Die number 1. Die number 1 for the day. We've got the chip in the lower B. We've got that die scratch halfway between the face and the rim at 3 o'clock. And on the reverse, we just have a very bright coin. That'll be for Mr. Fletcher. Coin number 39. Keep shutting my pen off when I need to be turning it on. And then I keep trying to write with it shut off because I think I turned it on. Maybe I need to form a habit. Maybe I need to stop talking myself out of knowing what I've got in my hand. Die number 1. Okay. Here we go. Coin number 40. Hello, Hidden. Mr. Worley. Mr. Worley goes next on this one. And Mr. Worley will get a die number 1. Yay, we're back into the RPMs. There's ourselves a die number 1. Well, this is going to be one heck of a roll. Tell you what. A lot of good flip inserts to bring out on this one. That's for sure. All right, let's see. That's coin number 40. 40. Stick that in there. It's die number 1. Oops. This flip is badly cracked. I am going to toss this flip. Happens. Once in a while, it happens. You can get another flip here. There we go. Took care of that problem. And we had what? Die number 1? Pretty sure. Yeah. Die number 1 for the day. Coin number 40. I'm going to be short one flip. Use this one. Right there. Draw a name. You got a roll of 60 small dates. Is that 60 Philadelphia or Denver, Bill? Levels of Madness. Levels of Madness will pull a die number 1. Yet another die number 1 right there. See the die scratch halfway between the face and the rim? You see the die break in the lower B. Tall die scratch above the R. Philadelphia man, huh? I've been looking for 1960 Philadelphia mint rolls for a long time. Not easy to get. So congrats on that find. Honestly, I can't remember what. Honestly, can't remember what I just said this was. Die number 1. Okay. Coin number 41. Bill threw me off there with the distraction of a 1960 Philadelphia small date roll. I love 1960 Philadelphia small date. To knowledge, you can get pretty much any errors on any year of coin because errors are typically done during the strike and it's not specific to date. If you're looking for die varieties, there are none known for 1960 Philadelphia small date. Paul Hampton is next. And Paul Hampton will get a die number 1. So we continue our streak. We have another die number 1 here. Dope people, this is awesome. Okay, I know about half of you are sitting there in total anticipation that I'm going to pull a Jessica and say, awesome sauce. So there you go. I did it. Well, asking about errors, they're all pretty much the same. All issues are pretty much the same with regard to errors. Errors can happen pretty much any time on any coin. Unless they're specifically CUDs or some other die error. I don't know what I said that was. Die number 1. Why would it be anything different, right? Okay, here we go. Coin number 43 goes to Steve A. And Steve A is going to get, as soon as my scope comes back on here. Oops. It's a coin with a blemish. It is a die number 3 for the day. It's got the full buy error on it. It's got a minor RPM. But it does have, looks like a little bit of a finger rake. A fingerprint that moved across the... Steve, I'm being told that there's one scheduled for 8 p.m. this evening. I think it's either 8 p.m. Central or 8 p.m. Eastern. I think I scheduled it for 9 Eastern so that I could get more of the Pacific folks involved. It's going to be the 1942 D roll. Expecting some nice stuff out of that, possibly. Got near a dozen different double dies and a dozen, more than a dozen, actually almost a dozen different repunchment marks. I think there's 10 different repunchment marks known. Not meaning we won't run into something that hasn't yet been discovered. That's coin number 43, and I honestly cannot remember what I just looked at again. That's a die number 3. And coin number 44. Mr. Marshall. Mr. Marshall gets coin number 44, and this one is going to be a normal coin. There are little die breaks inside the 9 and the 5 of the date. Tell me that. But I'm going to have to look at these again because I do believe I could have run into another RPM here. I'm just not seeing it in this scope. And got nothing going on there. Coin number 43. The drugs? Yeah. It's got to be the drugs. One Dayquil, man. That's some good stuff. There you go, Farm Dog. There's another coin for you. This is going to be another die number 3 for the day. It's going to have the full buy die break. All right there. And we have ourselves yet another example of what an RPM roll can produce. Nice, nice roll. So that's going to be for Farm Dog. Coin number 40. Oops, I got 2 coins marked 43. That's all right. I'll mark this one 45. I'll go back and watch and figure out which one was 43 and which one was 44. So this is coin number 45. And I think I said this is a die 3 for the day. I'm talking too much. Can't remember what I'm saying. And it's coin number 45. Now on to coin number 46. 46 levels of madness. Levels of madness we'll get. That's a die number 1. Chip in the lower B. Get all the markers necessary for a die number 1. Relatively nice coins. Some beautiful coins. Some just better than average. Some relatively average. But many more RPMs than not. That's for sure. So that's coin 46. We have a grand total of 4 coins left. Let's see if all 4 coins can be RPMs. I'd be damned if I don't remember what that was. It was die number 1. Sorry. I seem to want to have the hiccups. Not a good thing when you're doing a broadcast. And no, it's not alcohol induced. Adam Chambers. Oh, that's a normal one. Wah, wah. Looks like our percentage is going to be under 90. It's going to be under 80. Will it beat 70? Who knows? Count them up after this. Oops. That was coin number 47. Coin number 46. Gosh, I can't remember what I'm looking at. There's such bad short-term memory here. Okay, normal coin. Okay. That's why I didn't remember what it was. It's not. That's right, for sure. Deanne. It's coin number 48. To Deanne. Let's see what Deanne gets. Coin number 48. This is going to be that second normal die. This is only the second coin I've seen in this roll from this die. So to one effect, you got yourself a rarity. To the other effect, it's a rarity that's not going to produce any premium value. But it's the only other, there's only 2 of these in this roll so far. The only other normal coin from this particular die so far in the roll. There's 2 of those now. So Deanne gets to be die siblings with someone else who was unlucky earlier in the roll. Coin number 48. And we have 2 coins left. The first of the 2 coins will go to Mr. Worley. Mr. Worley will get this coin right here. And that looks like a coin die number 2. It's die number 2 for the day. Let's take a look at the reverse. Man, this thing's shiny. It has lots and lots of luster. It is a die number 2 for the day. It is coin number 49. And coin number 50, our last coin in the roll, goes to Paul Hampton. And coin number 50 is not highly attractive. And it's a normal coin. Not only do we have a unattractive Roland coin here, we also have what is a pretty normal coin. Hello, Hector. So we got nothing going on there. Yeah, win some, lose some, right? Alright, so here's what we have. Let's see, let me go ahead and mark Paul Hampton's coin number 50. Let's see what we got going on here. You open up that. And for normal coins, or what we are believing to be normal coins at this time, 14. It's 28%, folks. 28%. So it means that 72% are die varieties. Here's die number 1 for the day. $16 coins. Die number 2 for the day. Another 9 coins. Die number 3 for the day. 11 coins. So that was pretty good. Pretty good. I have to say, it's probably one of the best rolls we've had so far as percentages are concerned. We've got another reveal coming up later this evening that I hope is just as good, because it's a 1942D roll. 1942D is not one you're going to run into very commonly. Very difficult roll to come by. I happen to have 2 of them. We're only going to open one of them for now. I'm going to hang on to the other one for a little while and see what happens. I might roll it, might not. But then tomorrow, I may not be doing any reveals. If I do any reveals tomorrow, it's going to be late in the evening, because I'm currently working toward the idea of taking a complete day off with my wife to go do a little bit of house hunting. We're considering the possibility of moving. So it would be in the local area, though. It would be a local move. That was a nice roll. I'll tell you what. A lot of people come out with a RPM on that. I like that. I like it when that happens. 36S I'm going to do Friday evening. I think that's a good time. It's going to be before the nightclub scene and after dinner. So I'm going to say probably at 9 o'clock Eastern time. Probably do 9 o'clock Eastern time. That'd make it 6 Pacific. That'll be for the 36S. And then immediately before that will be the 44D roll. So tomorrow, if I do one, it will be the 44D roll. So the 71 roll comes the last day, Friday, and the 36S. So what we've got is 42D tonight. We've probably got the 44D tomorrow, later in the evening. And then we've got 1936S and 1971 Philadelphia coming up on Friday. Looked like WDDO3, wasn't sure, but die markers match on 1DO001. Where did you get the roll, Steve? I mean, what part of the country does the roll come from? Oh yeah, 50D. I got that, plus I've got that 56D that I need to make up. We'll do those on Saturday. We'll do those on Saturday, and I will try to get them done during the day on Saturday. Saturday evening is it's one of those days where if the wife happens to be in town and I happen to be in town, we usually do a movie together or something on Saturday evening. We're still kids at heart. We still go on dates. Did have a passing of a good friend this week. We're considering the possibility of going back to Missouri to go to a funeral. You might see something about it on my Facebook page if you have seen my sharing. If you have me brought in to view sharing, a good friend of ours, Tammy Sade, was killed earlier this week, and we are probably going to be going to her funeral. Columbia, South Carolina. That's not far away from where die number 1 was originally discovered. You're a couple of 100 miles away. It was Monk's Corner, which is not very far from Charleston, where die number 1 was originally discovered. And so we looks like we've got a match for location anyway. You just get one roll from that source, or did you get a box? Steven, I do like the coin, but right now I am buried in other work to do. What I'm trying to do is get things straight so that we have a number of attributors for the website, and I will have you send it to one of the other people, one of them being Jessica. We're working on getting her set up. One of them being Brady Douglas. We're trying to get him set up. And Jody Gomez, trying to get him set up. Trying to get the three of them set up to do good photography for the website so we can send coins in to those people and have them do attributions. Because with the work that I do with the roll reveals and with the auctions, I don't have a whole lot of other time to spend on much of anything, including my own set. I haven't. A good camera, you're asking me about a camera for a trinocular microscope. I've not bought the trinocular microscope yet, and I think that the camera that they sell that will come with the microscope will be good with my lighting. So I'm hoping that's what happens. Steve, if you can go back to the same bank, get more rolls from the same source, see if you can get a full box. Or even more than a box. If you can buy 2 or 3 or 4 boxes, get as many as you can from that same bank. Hey, you're in Columbia, I could come down and get them from you. But if you can get other boxes from that same bank and open one roll from each box, let me know what you find in them, I'd buy the rest of the box from you. And I pay pretty well too. Anybody who's ever sold me anything knows that I pay pretty well for stuff. All right, folks, well, it's time to go. I've got to go make dinner for the family. I appreciate you guys all showing up. I appreciate you being here. And I am going to take off now. I'll be back later on this evening for the reveal of the 1942 D-roll. I hope to see everybody later on. Have a great afternoon.